King's Arms, the first English pub in Japan. As I was going through my late father's possessions some years ago, I came across a bundle of pictures that really caught my attention of his life in Japan. It is only now that I'm putting together all the disparate elements of a story that I've been accumulating over the years, and have had a chance to speak with my mother about what she remembers of that brief period of time in the 1950s in Japan. My mother was born in Kobe in Japan of German parentage in 1935, the youngest of four. Her father had some kind of business in the country. With the outbreak of the Second World War, her mother, my grandmother, was obliged to return to Germany with her four children, 2 sons and 2 daughters, in order that her sons be conscripted. They were only able to return to Japan 4 years after the war had ended.
I got back to Japan because I got back in 1949.
Yes, yeah.
And I went to school. And I met Dad about 51, 52, something
right,
like that.
Yes, yeah.
52, probably more.
I don't know exactly when my father himself arrived in Japan, but sometimes perhaps at the end of the 1940s. But I have pictures of him at work. However, the photographs that particularly caught my attention were these. Going through Dad's old pictures of his time in Japan and seeing these, lovely pub interiors with these English gentlemen and women dressed up in traditional Japanese costume. It seems such an anomaly, such a contrast. And I wanted to get your memories of this place, what it was like, and also the chap who ran it, Courtney-Brown was his name.
Courtney-Brown, yes. He looks very British, doesn't he?
He does, I know.
Yes. And it was the only English pub anywhere in Japan.
The King's Arms.
The King's Arms, yes.
Reading from a brochure published by Courtney-Brown about the pub, he says, "How did such an ancient institution take root in Kobe, Japan? Well, there seemed to be a need for a place where people of all kinds and nationalities could meet, drink and eat in comfortable surroundings. And the opening of something on the lines of an English local seemed to be the answer. So we decided to build the real thing. I designed the place, taking pains to make the building, furniture and fittings as authentic as possible, and the King's Arms opened its doors in December 1950. What was also quite remarkable about this brochure is this poem by the famous English poet Edmund Blunden, who spent time in Tokyo between 1947 and 1950. While it is not known whether he visited Kobe, the lines of this poem seem entirely pertinent to this English pub.
It existed long before I knew about pubs. I mean, I was only in my late teens, and I didn't know pubs and what they were for or anything like that. And it was the gathering place for the British community.
There are several pictures of Courtney-Brown.
Yes, mine host.
Yes, mine host.
I mean, that's an expression I learned at that time. I didn't know the first thing about pubs, what they were for. Yes, he was called mine host.
Because you came back to Kobe in
1949, after the end of the war.
Yes.
But I didn't really mix with the foreign community until about 51, 52, because I was still at school.
Yes.
And then I started work. And I worked for a British company, Dunlop's, and mixed more with the British people. And that's how this came about. And Dad was a very popular and frequent customer there.
Yes, there are pictures of him in the background.
Once we got together, I went with him, and it was all very new to me.
I mean, it looks a charming, friendly place.
Yes.
With a fireplace there.
I mean, it was a gathering of friends, it was the place to go for the British.
It wasn't an exclusive the male
No,
place, was it?
no, I don't suppose it was.
No, I can see some of the pictures. There are
Yeah.
ladies there, but
Yes.
I've just made a connection. There was one picture of Dad staring into a fire with a picture of the Queen above, and I've just seen it.
The Queen, yes, that was the Queen.
And I've just seen it in this photograph.
Well, I've never seen a fireplace or a light like that.
Really, a big fireplace like that, yes.
Certainly where we lived in Germany, you didn't have fireplaces. That was an English thing.
Was it? Yes.
Oh, yes.
I always had the impression that my father took the trouble to integrate himself, to be a part of any community in which he found himself, whether he was among the military or the local population. Yeah, there's some charming pictures of Dad with children in the street and other street scenes.
Yes.
You know, typical Japanese street scenes for that period. I've got this brochure from the Shioya Country Club.
Shioya.
Country Club.
Yes.
Where they put on amateur dramatics. And Courtney-Brown is, he plays the main character in this play, The Man Who Came to Dinner.
Oh, yes.
And Dad has a minor role, I think, as June's boyfriend.
Yeah.
But he was also involved in he was a stage manager.
That's right, yes.
Within a couple of years, my parents were married and spent their honeymoon on board a ship bound for England, leaving Japan for good, but aspects of the culture that they had grown to love never left either of them.